night of sensations at the most prestigious arm wrestling contest, the Nemiroff, the greatest arm wrestling show in the world. Fights of the strongest, unnatural power against gravity and determination, strength, technique, intelligence and smart tactics, honestly and cunning. All of this in today's Real Arm Wrestling. This will be interesting. Dave Chaffee actually having the chance to stop Cyplenkov. Cyplenkov has looked more vulnerable today. He has won everything, but a couple of guys have actually challenged him, and his hand has looked as it could be touched in some way, but he is an immense powerhouse, and the question is, does Dave Chaffee really has their finger? Nothing can be moved on their own initiative after the referee's grip has been called. And look at that attack towards Cyplenkov's fingers, and Cyplenkov just turns out and fights. And there is the call for the straps, and the audience is not happy. They feel that Cyplenkov was beaten. Chaffee all the way down almost to the pin when Cyplenkov turns his hand and slips out. And he was so close to losing that, Cyplenkov. The question, can he come back? Because now it's into the straps. Winner, winner! That's what some fans watching the fight in the Warsaw Western Hotel shouted. Apparently, they wanted Dave Chaffee to win. That was probably the most exciting moment of the year. Surprise, suspension. Could Denis Cyplenkov really be beaten? Cyplenkov, the invincible. Cyplenkov, the Russian heavyweight superpower. Is it possible? Up till that minute, the world ranking list of pullers was undisputed. Cyplenkov was obviously the first. Now, nothing was obvious anymore. Hi, I'm Axclo. Stay with me and you will see more surprises, more emotion, and most importantly, more fighting at the world's highest level. Cyplenkov versus Chaffee at the Nemiroff. Why was that match so important? It's very clear to those who know what the Nemiroff really is. It is the Professionals World Cup, the most prestigious competition in the world. The tournament that attracts the best pullers from all over the world. Nowhere and on no other occasion does so many champions of the sport gather in one place. Denis Cyplenkov, Russia. Andrey Pushkar, Ukraine. Krashimir Kostadinov, Bulgaria. Wagner Bortolato, Brazil. And the Americans, Tim Bresnan, Dave Chaffee, Chris Beanie. The list of this year's Nemiroff competitors wouldn't differ much from a world heavyweight ranking list if there was one. Only a few top-level pullers were missing, among them Michael Todd and Devon Larratt. There is no doubt that the Nemiroff Cup is a peak of the arm wrestling season every year.
It's unbelievable. Igor Mazurenko puts on a tournament like nobody else. It's just indescribable. I mean, the first year we came, we was at the Hilton, and we walked out into a parking garage, and me and Christian Binney were looking at each other. We flew all this way to arm wrestle in a parking garage, and we go back a couple hours later. It looked like the Taj Mahal. It was unbelievable, unbelievable what they did to that parking garage. It was incredible.
To me, Nemiroff is the toughest tournament in the world. And it's the best tournament. And if you want to be the best, you come to Nemiroff and you fight.
There's no other tournament where you're going to get tested like here. Most tournaments I go to, I blow through every tournament. I have no, this tournament, you got some warriors in this tournament. You know, there's always more than one guy that you have to contend with in this tournament. It's always top notch.
Every year, the Nemiroff brings about changes to rankings, crowns new champions, and introduces new challengers. It stirs up a lot of emotion, but everything seemed to be different this year. As far as the most exciting category, the plus 95 and the Open, were concerned, the gold and silver medals were already settled. Experts named only 2 candidates. First, the mighty Denis Cyplenkov. Secondly, Andrey Pushkar, who was the reigning Nemiroff Open class champion.
Andrey Pushkar, master of a quick start. Winning tournament seems to be amazingly easy to him. He won not only last Nemiroff, he won all the European and World Championships for the last 5 years. That was his claim to a title of the best puller in the world. But was he really the best? To reach that position, he needed a match against Denis Cyplenkov. Denis Cyplenkov rarely competes at tournaments, so his appearance is sensational. Finally, there was a clash. Pushkar met Cyplenkov at the A1 in Moscow in 2013. The results of all rounds of all fights, both on left and right, left no doubts to who was number one.
That situation did not promise any excitement in the heavyweight at the Nemiroff. The only question was about the third place. Fortunately, that did not affect anything in the competition's lighter classes. It was as exciting as it possibly could be. Let me name some heroes. There were Matthias Schlitter, Hermes Gasparini, there was obviously Zoloyev, there was Evgeny Prudnik, there was Ongorbayev of Kazakhstan. Many champions had come, and they all fought in a spectacular, sportsmanlike way. The competition in the 86 category was fierce. Some new pullers who entered this class came up from the lighter categories, and they brought fresh blood. Rising above them all in the right hand in a spectacular style was Evgeny Prudnik from Ukraine.
Evgeny Prudnik, an actor working in the Kiev National Academic Theatre, pulled his way to the finals in the right using a superior technique. He proved he was a multiple talent.
Let's get back to the heavyweight category. The first day of the competition brought no surprises. Even the pullers themselves, at least some of them, didn't even try to challenge Pushkar or Cyplenkov. Pushkar's and Cyplenkov's road to the final was very easy. And what happened on the second day, the right-hand contest? Everything was different. The man who caused it all was an American correctional officer, Dave Chaffee. A left-handed injury kept him out of the first day's competition. What did he hope for at the Nemiroff?
you can achieve being the best arm wrestler in the world. You beat Denis. That's your goal. Anybody who doesn't want to be number one shouldn't be arm wrestling. That should be everybody's goal, to be the best. And to be the best, you got to beat the best, and that is my goal. And you work your way to the top. You know, I'll go through the other guys to get there, Pushkar, Krasny, all those guys. So that's how you be number one. That's my goal, be the best in the world. Denis? Well, I don't think anybody can match his power. He's just so strong. I think everybody has a weakness. I think you got to go through his hand a little bit, through his fingers. If you try to go through his arm, I don't think it's going to work. You're probably just going to bounce off his arm and he's going to take you down. But everybody has a weakness. You just got to find it.
Was this serious? Was it just self-confidence? Or just something that one should say? We were about to discover.
Grigaitis Modestas from Lithuania was the first puller in the plus 95 category who forced Cyplenkov to fight using his maximum. Although the Russian giant won, the duel had changed something. Now it wasn't only power Cyplenkov needed, it was also endurance. Everybody knew Cyplenkov was strong. But there was still that unanswered question, could he go the length? If Dave Chaffee was looking for Cyplenkov's weaknesses, he found them. The slip out in the semi-final saved Cyplenkov from a loss. It was very close to an intentional slip. And it was very close to a defeat.
Well, you have to realize the referees at the Nemiroff are the best in the world. Let's try and explain what they saw. You see, the thing is that Cyplenkov actually lost his wrist and he was pulled out from his favorite position where he could use his huge arm. And he was out there and he was actually on his way to lose the fight. But the thing that allowed him to slip out without actually losing the fight is that as he was trying to turn, he actually turned his hand back up and he was trying to regain position. If he had slipped underneath to get away from Chaffee, he would have lost the match immediately. But the fact is that even though he was pulled out far away, he tried to start fighting it, he tried turning back, and then it slipped out. So the reason the referee called it a non-intentional slip is because he actually started to try and fight back, not just get out. Now let's look at what happened next. Straps and referee's grip, so there's not much to be won by fidgeting about. Referee settles down, fingers exactly. There we are, and look at that again. Again, Chaffee hits out to the only weak spot there could possibly be, and he works it, and Cyplenkov gets the lock on too late. Second foul for Cyplenkov, but that is far too late. It's not a foul victory. It is a pin, and Dave Chaffee does what we thought was impossible and beats Denis Cyplenkov. Dave Chaffee, you're here at the Nemiroff, and you just sort of done the biggest upset in years here by beating Cyplenkov, and fairly easy it would seem.
Well, it wasn't easy. Denis is a very strong guy. I just got out in his hand a little bit. And like I said, everybody's got a weakness. He's too strong to go inside in a hook, so I just want to get outside a little bit, and it seemed to work. So I got to beat him one more time, or maybe Andrey if they decide to pull this time. Who knows? We'll see.
Yesterday you explained to us that the others are not so far behind as we thought. We thought you were invincible, and it proves you were right, that others were closer. Or did you just simply make a mistake and underestimate your opponent?
Да. Мы, в принципе, рассчитывали то, что...
All right, yes, I did. Generally speaking, we considered it. We watched him and we knew fighting against him would not be so easy. He came here in really good shape.
Но чуть-чуть сеткой там организаторы...
And the qualification groups were not equal. The first was strong, the second was weaker. I had to face some very strong top rollers. And Dave made a hit in the same direction.
И так уж случилось, что вот Дэвид тоже направил туда вектор.
So this is what everybody's been waiting for. It is time for the heavyweight finals. And the fact is that Denis Cyplenkov is coming to this final table from the loser's bracket. He is not undefeated up to the table. And that, I don't know when that happened last. Denis Cyplenkov stepping up, and look at that focus. He knows that something has happened today that he definitely did not predict and that he did not expect, and that has put him in a spot where he needs to bring out his very, very best. Because the man coming undefeated, and that means that he did actually defeat Cyplenkov during the qualifiers, is about to step up to the table. And he does not represent Russia, he does not represent Ukraine, he represents the United States of America. Dave Chaffee stepping up undefeated to the heavyweight final of the Nemiroff. And that is some expectation to live up to. Now the rules of the arm wrestling contest is that the winner coming into the final, the undefeated, needs only one win and he will have secured the tournament victory, while as the opponent, the man coming with one loss through, in this case Cyplenkov, will have to win twice to turn this around, because you cannot lose an arm wrestling tournament unless you have lost twice. And Cyplenkov has lost once, Dave Chaffee has not lost at all, and they are gripping up again. They are gripping up again at the table. Referee looks at his watch and decides to call the referee's grip. There's been enough of the fidgeting about, and back in to the table, and the referee, David Sheed, will settle down where all those huge fingers get to go. And look at the size of those hands as we try to bring them together in a referee's grip. Cyplenkov's hand is absolutely immense. And remember that Dave Chaffee is no small man either. The referee trying to square in the shoulders again. There's the thumbs down. And there come the fingers. And we are waiting for the go. There is the go. And Cyplenkov slips out. There was an elbow foul. There was an elbow foul. So it is not straps yet. I'm quite sure we will end up at that, because Cyplenkov was not trying to hold on at all, and his hand didn't hold up, so we'll see if we do get a pin without the straps, but I doubt it very much. We could, mind you. There is a foul to Cyplenkov for moving in the referee's grip, so now they have a foul each. They have a foul each, which means the next foul will decide this match. There was a foul to Cyplenkov for not remaining still in the referee's grip, and Dave Chaffee elbow fouled in the first start. Back in again. This is so much a game of minds as well. Every little centimeter, in fact every millimeter of advantage they could possibly gain, they will try to gain. It is the referee's grip again. It is not in the straps. And the referee will try to get the match underway without the straps again. There we are, and there's the slip, and we go to the straps. None of them attempting to hold on without the straps. And we will tie these huge men together. I'm imagining that Chaffee is quite comfortable here. Cyplenkov knows he comes in with a loss, and Cyplenkov knows that somehow the tide seems to be coming against him. So I would suppose that Dave Chaffee is actually gaining from all of this. But who is to know? That's why we arm wrestle for it. And there comes Cyplenkov's fingers down, and then there are Chaffee's, and there we go. Look at him, he lifts outwards. And Cyplenkov's holding on, and that is not a good position to be holding on to, but he does manage to stop it just above the pin. And look at this battle. Look at this battle. Chaffee is hitting, and Cyplenkov has to defend himself for dear life. Moving upward, and there is, what is that? There is a call for what? We are waiting for the referee's call. Second elbow foul for Chaffee, and it is a win for Cyplenkov, and he forces the rematch. He forces the rematch, and that means that Chaffee's advantage is no longer there. There is a 1-1 situation. Well, here they come back in again for the rematch, and they are making the most of this. Chaffee came in undefeated to the first final. Cyplenkov won that by the way of 2 elbow fouls for Chaffee, and we are up at the second final. We have a 1-1 situation where Chaffee's advantage is all gone, and now it's a directly deciding match between the Russian giant Cyplenkov and Dave Chaffee, the huge surprise in the tournament as he actually defeated Cyplenkov in the qualifiers. Squaring in the shoulders again. Fingers down, closing them to where the referee says they go, and let's see if we can get this on the way without the straps. No, we don't. And we get to tie them together again.
Straps tighten down. Still in the referee's grip, so the referee will set down the fingers. The straps is already down, centering up in the middle.
There's Charlie Manell of Sweden looking at this, looking at the upset. He's one of many aficionados in the audience who can hardly believe their eyes at what is going on stage. Comes closed down. And there we are. And, oh no, Chaffee is getting nowhere this time. Referee interrupts that. And it's an elbow foul for Chaffee. It's an elbow foul for Chaffee. And again, Chaffee has trouble staying on the pad. And that means he is very, very close to losing this, because he's lost the first fight. He's now in the rematch. He's got an elbow foul against him. We're in the straps. We're in the referee's grip. There is no space left to move about in at all. There we have Cyplenkov back into the table. And the referee closes down the fingers. Nothing can move.
Fingers being closed down.
And there's the go. And Chaffee hits the same way, but he's not getting that far this time. Well, he is working his way down. He's working his way down. And Cyplenkov ends out very, very stretched out. They're both very far out. Cyplenkov blocking it away from the pin, working it upwards. Look at this. There's no telling where this will go. Not being able to finish it. Chaffee is pushing it all the way, and every time he lets go, Denis Cyplenkov, and there's, I don't know what happens. It looks as Dave Chaffee's arm simply collapses. And it is a win, and Denis Cyplenkov saves his reputation by winning the rematch as well, and it is Denis Cyplenkov who maintains the title as the heavyweight champion. And look at this. This is so strange because Dave Chaffee really keeps hitting on. He has the advantage, and Cyplenkov just holds. He just holds. And every time Dave Chaffee goes up to fetch some power, he loses his wrist there, and bang! Cyplenkov finishes it and does in fact win the category. So it was a tournament of paradoxes. The first paradox is that the winner of the heaviest category could be considered the main loser. The man who lost the final now is the real hero. That seems to be the general opinion anyway. And there are more paradoxes. Let's watch the open category.
It was a night of sensations. After winning the plus 95, Denis Cyplenkov decided to pull out of the open. The reason was obvious and quite understandable. His arm was exhausted after the clash with Chaffee. And what about Chaffee himself? Chaffee was exhausted too, but he decided not to pull out. He lost match after match, but both of the Titans had lost their power. So who jumped into the game? It was Pushkar, Breznan and the brave Modestas from the heaviest category. Unexpectedly, they were joined by an athlete from a lighter category, Prudnik.
So the third in the open category was Tim Breznan. The second was Evgeny Prudnik. And the World Cup came to Andrey Pushkar. He lifted it for the second time. He defended his title. But most of the fans and sports commentators are still talking mainly about Chaffee, a man who had no golden trophy to bring home from the Nemiroff. He won no category, but you could say that he is one of the winners of the Nemiroff, the most prestigious arm wrestling cup in the world. And what was the headline news after the Nemiroff 2013? More questions than answers. Before the tournament, everything seemed to be clear. Now the world list of top pullers had to be rewritten once again. It is good news to fans all over the world. It promises more drama, more excitement, more sport at the highest level in the coming year. And that includes here on Real Arm Wrestling.